Now, we're going to talk about navigating the paths in Pattaya through love, lust, red light activities, and all the rest, at least successfully. Hopefully. It's easy sitting back here coming up with all of the great ideas, but when you're in it, it's a whole nother idea or a whole nother thing. Okay, we're going to talk about kind of finding the right path through Pattaya's love and lust and dating and red light activities to do it successfully, to do it without, craziness happening to your life. And it's hard to do because anytime women are involved, we're prone to craziness, and that's just the way men are. But there's some things that can help if you think about them in the right light. One of the first things, it's an analogy I told my sons a long time ago. After I first divorced their mother, my oldest boy came to me, and he was he was graduating from high school, going to college. My youngest boy was a year behind, so they were both in the room with me. And my oldest son said, "Dad, you don't, although you're divorced from mom, you don't sound on marriage and divorce like a lot of, divorced men do." And I started laughing. And I said, "Son," "it's kind of hard to understand." I said, "I'll try to explain it." I said, "First of all, I don't think marriage is a bad thing. I think if two people really put a lot of work into finding the right person, not the right person in the moment, not I love her after an hour, no, the right person. I think that marriage is where people are the happiest." I said, "Look at your grandma and grandpa. My mom and dad were married for, I believe, 38 years before they passed, and they were truly happy. When they walked down the mall, they would still hold hands. They couldn't think of being apart. And that was a love that lasted a long time. So there are people that achieve that, but it's a lot of luck, a lot of work, and also picking the right person." And so I came up with an analogy that I've told to kind of a lot of people, and everyone has seemed to like the thinking about it. But I told my son, I said, "Okay, imagine this." I said, "You've seen your uncle, my brother." I said, "And how quick he goes from meeting a girl to falling in love." I said, "Imagine this." I said, "If you were to pick out a wife, a little bit slower, a little more methodically, the difference it could make." I said, "Let's talk about cars for a minute." I said, "Let's say that in the United States, as being a U.S. citizen, every guy, well, no, it'd be every person. I mean, I don't mean to leave out the ladies too, but it would mean more to the guys, I know that. But every person would get, at age 21, they would get the car of their choice for free. They don't pay taxes on it. They don't pay, there's no deduction, no nothing. The government gives them that car for free, and they get to pick any car they want." And I said, the only catches are, it is your car for life. Meaning that you have to drive that car and maintain that car until the day you die. And I said, there's no, letting it kind of have problems and park on the side of the house and get another car. There's no having a sidecar, nothing like that. It's your car every day for the rest of your life. And I said, think about how much you would research and how much you would think about what you truly want. Because the first thing most guys would do is they would think, "Oh, Ferrari, Testarossa, or whatever." And they would pick a car that's completely fun, but completely ridiculous in a lifelong thinking. It's like, after you thought of the Ferrari, you think, wait a minute, it'd be fun now when I'm single, but what about if I get married and I have kids? There would be nowhere for them to ride. Plus the upkeep is expensive. A Bentley, that's a family car. But it's like, yeah, but keeping that thing, going with English parts and everything else in it, that would, be a fortune to keep it on the road. And you would think about every possible angle to this until you finally checked off every possible car and the goods and the bads for each car and weighed the pros and the cons for each one. And you would finally, after a lot of thinking and a lot of, looking and shopping around, you would finally come to a decision. And that would be the best decision you've ever made in your entire life because you took it so seriously. Now, think about the way most men pick out a wife. Or for that matter, men fall in love. It's like, come on, they go into a bar in Pattaya, they see a beautiful woman that, smiles at them, and it's like after a night with them, they're in love. Okay, but see, a person that you're marrying and a car are different in one important way. A car doesn't have sex with you. And if it wasn't for that one thing, we would have about 70% less marriages in this world. Because if sex was not in the picture, either they couldn't have it, until they were married, or they had it with no worries or whatever, and a man didn't have to marry someone to think that that's going to keep coming, marriage would dramatically drop off because that is always the deal breaker. I mean, why do you think a man does? He goes into a bar in Pattaya and a complete stranger he sees, she's beautiful, needless to say, but she's a bar girl. She has slept with, hundreds of other men and had hundreds of other encounters. And with one night with her, he thinks he's in love. But it's something that you need to do. And especially in Pattaya where there's so much activity, especially red light activity, men are so prone to do stupid things. And that's how they get into, they see when a bar girl starts talking about her expenses, and the guy is talking about her leaving the bar because he doesn't want to work in there anymore, and how much it would take for her to make to support her kids and her mom and her dad and brother and sister and send this one to school and do that and everything else. A guy after a short period of time starts seriously thinking about it. He is that convinced that this person is the one for him, that he's going to send her money every month to take care of all these people. And it's crazy because somebody's not thinking right. Because when men start having sex, they don't do well with thinking. It's like the whole car thing would be screwed up if a man started having sex at the same time he started looking for a car. He'd just say, oh, what the hell, pick whatever car he was looking at. But that's the thing. There are some steps you can take that really improve your chances. Okay, first of all, if you're dating in Thailand, okay, there's some things that you have, and we'll kind of go over each scenario, whatever you're coming to Thailand for. If you're dating in Thailand, that's usually what I do. I go to meet a Thai woman to be my girlfriend, live with me. I'm going to eventually move to Thailand, and I would like that to happen. So, when I date, okay, I purposely go out of my way to be very obvious about I do not give money to women, no matter what the situation. If I'm dating someone, I do not give money to them. I don't buy expensive gifts for them. Now, if I was seeing someone a year and they had an emergency, a true emergency that I saw, would I help them? Of course. But when half the women from Thai Friendly ask me for money before we even get to the first date and meeting in person, that's not, there's not that many people having emergencies. But one of the things, the possibility of them getting money to you is actually what causes the problem. Because they've made it up until now, all the years that they've lived, they've made it every month with their rent, their payments, everything else, until now. And all of a sudden, they meet you and they start having emergency after emergency after emergency that only can be fixed with your money. No, I don't think so, okay? What happens is she sees an opportunity to live better. She takes the money that she was going to spend on rent and she spends it on something else she wants, and then she comes to you for the difference in the money between what she has and what she spent. So, by doing these things, you're actually creating more of the problems that exist. But some of the other things, okay, that's the first big deal. Find out when you're talking to somebody after you put that If you're on online dating and you put that, I do not give money to anyone I'm dating, it helps. There's a noticeable drop in the people who respond to your profile, which is good. That's what you want. I don't understand the social media thinking of people nowadays to where they want just this huge number of people responding to whatever they're online for, and then it gets so out of hand they can't handle it, but they love the attention. So you're not looking for attention here, you're looking for good candidates for a girlfriend. So that's the first one. You don't give money to someone. Second one, okay, when you start planning a date with a Thai lady, so many Western men love kind of showing off to a Thai lady, showing her the good life. You take her to a rooftop restaurant, an elegant restaurant, somewhere, you take her on vacation for a few days, and you set a bar that's so high, you can't maintain that. And then Western guys will get mad when the woman starts expecting that. Well, you never take me to nice places anymore. Every time you take me to dinner to a Thai food cart. That's the thing. Set it kind of in the middle of the road. Set it nice for a first date, but not over the top nice, not Western nice, because you're starting to set a pattern that you're not going to want to continue with later on. The other thing is when you start dating someone, on the sites, it's very easy to get really excited. It's like, especially if you're a decent looking guy, you have a nice looking profile, you will get a lot of ladies interested. And it's really easy to kind of overdo it. Oh God, I'm in Pattaya or Bangkok or whatever city you're going to for 5 nights. I'll make 5 dates. Okay, don't do that. It's very easy to make dating all you do in a trip. I in my early days of going to Thailand, I did that. I'd either every day or every other day because I want to meet somebody, and there were all these ladies. The only way to meet them is to meet them. So, but I would spend my whole time meeting people, and then if I did like someone, there would be no free time to go do anything else. We'd go to dinner. I really liked him. I want to see him again, but I couldn't because I'd already filled up my time there. So every other day, every third day is fine. Then go out and do some fun stuff. Enjoy vacation. The opposite side of don't fill up your days with dates for, Thai women. The opposite part of that is also don't put all of your eggs in one basket. I know a lot of guys will start talking to a woman and get really, into talking to her. Oh, I like her. I've done video chats. She looks just like her pictures. She's perfect. I don't want to see anybody else. It's like, don't do that. It's like, have plan A, B, C, D, E, because you can't, in online dating, whether it's in Pattaya or in the West, you never know if somebody's going to show up. You never know if you weren't talking on the video chat to her daughter or her sister, and she shows up and she looks like she's 100 years old. So always, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Talk to several different women. That way, if the first one doesn't work, you have the second one, and then maybe the third one. So those are some suggestions for dating. Now, when it comes to red light activities, okay, one of the things that is the most important thing, it's kind of like the Rolling Stones song, "Time is on your side." When it comes to anything love, sex, lust, red light activities, time is truly on your side. You have time on your side, ladies don't. Ladies want to rush you into making a decision, whether it's to support them and their family, to marry them, whatever it is. If you haven't noticed, in every culture in the world, the woman is always pushing. I want a ring. Give me a ring, And the man is always sitting back on, oh shit. And because a man benefits nothing by getting married. We've all heard the stories of the long relationships. It's like, well, how is your sex life? And he's like, not very good. And so it's not a benefit. And it's even worse when it comes to bar girls. My God, there are people that walk into a bar friend a girl once and think they're in love. Really? Like that car, you think that you're going to keep that woman every day for the rest of your life, putting up with all of her problems and issues, family wanting help, raising her kids, all of these issues and all of these things you are going to do for the rest of your life because of that woman after knowing her a day. You're stupid. I mean, I don't mean to be offensive, but you're stupid. It's like no one can make that decision that fast. It takes time. And then look at your last marriage. If you've been married before, like most of us have that are of a certain age, okay, how do you think it would have gone if we would have taken a wee bit more time before we decided to marry the woman that we married? We saw a little more of her real side when she got mad, that she didn't want to, show us when we were dating because it would scare the hell out of us, okay? That she wanted to hide, that she didn't want to show you because she was afraid you would run and hide, never marry her, okay? Don't you think a little extra time might have helped you make a better decision? And that's what this is about. Time, the longer you take to make a decision, okay, the more or the better that decision is going to be. Because when you decide after time and you give yourself time and you're not thinking because you're having sex, you're thinking about reason. And a lot of times I kind of play games. Like if I'm really involved with a woman and I feel like I'm going too fast and I'm really starting to think I care for her in a short period of time, I think it's like, okay, it's not going to happen, but let's say that we didn't have sex for the next week. We just sat and talked, went places together, watched TV, whatever we're going to do, but no sex. We're not going to have any sex, just talk. Okay, would you still want to marry her? Would you be so crazy in love? Or would you start thinking, oh my God, I'm going to do this the rest of my life? Because we don't think that way. We think in our little pea brains that happen when we're having sex, that, oh my God, we're going to have sex like this every day for the rest of our life. No, you're not. Talk to any man who's been with a woman for any length of time, married or not, and it changes. You're lucky to have sex like that 2-3 times a month. If you're lucky. In a lot of cases, 2 or 3 times every 10 years. But it's not going to last that way. You're going to have the conversations, the long explanations. I used to laugh, and I would talk to my ex-wife, and I would tell her, it's like, you're the only person I know, because we worked together. So I had 2 photography studios. She took care of one side of it. I did the photography on the other side of it. And something would happen, and it would be like a 5-minute ordeal, whatever the scenario was. It took 5 minutes. But when she explained it, one day we left and we were going on a trip to the coast, and she started talking about this 5-minute event that happened at our business. And an hour later, when we were halfway to the coast, she was still telling me about this. And it's like, how in the world can you explain a 5-minute event to me and it take over an hour and you're still not done? It's like, I don't understand. And so so many guys, they're thinking sex and, oh my God, sex all the time with this woman. And what they get are long stories. What they get are mood swings. And one day you're the greatest husband alive and the next day you're a lazy slug. And I'm not saying, it's fine. If you're in love with a woman, like my father was with my mother, it wasn't easy. She was a German woman, and I know he had struggles, but he truly loved her. He could not see life without her. And it's sweet, when somebody loves somebody that much, and the other person loves them back in return. It's a very sweet thing. But it doesn't happen in a hurry. It doesn't happen when people aren't using their heads, at least the right heads. So, now, some of the other things, okay? When you are in the red light districts, and this is navigating the lust and the red light activities. Now, following through with the navigation here of going down the right path is if, there are people that don't go for love. They don't want to fall in love. They don't want to get a Thai wife, okay? And one of the things I didn't, if you are thinking about love, if you are thinking about dating and finding your girlfriend or whatever, you need to think about some things before you delve too deep. First of all, if you date women or bar girls or whoever you're going to date, which you shouldn't date bar girls, but if you do they have children? How do you feel about having children in your house again? Because whether you move to Thailand and have a house, or you bring her to where you live, have some children in your house, okay? Maybe parents and brothers and sisters and grandparents too, I don't know. But how do you feel about that? What arrangements have you made for, before you start going looking for love and a permanent situation with a Thai woman, what arrangements have you made to move there or move her to your house? Do you have the financial stability to do that? Do you have a house for you to live in if you move back home? Is it possible for your work to move to Thailand? You know, these are all things you have to ask, because if you're going for the wrong reasons, it's a waste of time. If you're looking for a girlfriend, but you're in no way set up to take a next step with a girlfriend, then you might be better off in the red light areas, just having fun and, you know, going with that in mind. Because you do, you know, so many guys just, they put the cart before the horse, and they're thinking about love and marriage, and they haven't even gotten their own life together, you know, they're barely hanging on in their own life and paying rent and stuff, and they're thinking of starting a life with a Thai bar girl. It's like, that's good thinking right there. But a couple of things, okay? Seeing down the path successfully, okay? Now, we spent a lot of time talking about dating and love and romance and all that stuff. Now we're going to talk about the red light areas, okay? Red light areas, couple of things. First of all, ask questions. Ask a lot of damn questions, because there are some places in the red light district that are doing nothing but trying to stick their hand in your wallet. They're pushing girls constantly to sell more ladies' drinks. They're having more and more ladies not do bar fines, but they don't tell you up front, or you don't have any way of knowing up front. You have to ask. And so you go into a bar, and I mean, most guys don't go in thinking, I'm going to bar find a girl, you know, and if you're going to do that, you go to a gentleman's club where it's a done deal. You go, you find a girl, everything else is done. So most guys go into a standard bar, and they, you know, just want a beer, and they see a pretty lady, oh, I'll buy you a drink, and they start talking and hit it off. And then as the night progresses, they drink, they play pool, they have fun, and then it's like, hey, you know, I really have enjoyed tonight. I want to bar find you. Oh, I don't bar find. You know, and your bin is up to 6,000 baht, and all of a sudden it's like, shit, I just sat here all night buying this lady drinks, and it would have been really nice to know 3 hours ago that she didn't bar find. So always ask. If you are looking to drink and have a conversation with a girl, okay, limit how many drinks you buy, because it's not necessary. If you're just going to talk to a girl and spend time with her, you know, 3-4 drinks are fine, but don't spend hundreds of dollars on sitting there playing Connect 4 and listening to stories in broken English. That's crazy. So, and if you are going to bar find or want a feminine companionship for the evening, best bet, seriously, gentlemen's club. It's the most effective way to have a date with a lady, because everything is set in stone. You go in, it's all closed in, some lock the front door, you go in, you pick out a lady that tickles your fancy, and she explains what to do about everything. You make your choices and go accordingly. There's no plan B, option B, what if this happens or what if that happens. Everything happens exactly like a woman tells you it's going to happen. So by far the most secure decision you can make, because you won't be disappointed. You won't be thinking that you're going to have an evening with a lady and all of a sudden you're home hugging your pillow. Okay, so that's one of the things. The other thing is, be cautious about over drinking. I think that's, more than anything else I can tell you, it's like drinking is fine, and every guy knows the difference. When you start drinking and you start feeling it come on, stop a little bit, slow down, drink some water. Don't get just intoxicated to where you're about to pass out. Because unless there's someone there, like a best friend or a brother, to really watch over you, you are completely vulnerable to anyone who wants to steal your stuff, to hurt you, to do things to you against your, what would be against your will if you were conscious to have a will. You know, is basically like waving your hand saying, hey, come take advantage of me. And you'll wake up and you'll be a changed man. You'll have no wallet, no credit cards, no jewelry, and some of the things you held virginous may not be virginous anymore. But anyways, that's a whole nother thing. So if you've liked this video, hopefully you have, like and subscribe. The channel is growing. I'm happy about that. We're getting more subscribers. We're getting more comments on the videos. It's nice. Hopefully it keeps going. So if you have any questions for me, if you're coming to Thailand, have women questions, love questions, book questions, the emails on the front and the back of the video, so you can get that. And then if you want information about the book, it's available at Amazon.com. So good luck in all of this. Time is on your side. Take your time, never rush into anything, and just enjoy yourself. So good luck.